Now entering the fourth hour of my daily transmission. It is the second day of May 2018. I'm your host, Alex Jones. If you just watched the last 30 minutes, you saw Candace Owens in studio, but back in what, December of 2017. Now, let me explain something here, why I did this. I don't chase Hollywood. I don't chase stars. I don't chase all that. Our audience hates it. I don't like it either. We're about building something outside the system. That's why we're based in Texas. We're about pointing out how it's been used to control us. But when Kanye West comes out and has the courage to go against the system and to call for free thinking and gets demonized, I get excited. And I remember Candace Owens talking about how much she admired Kanye West and how she wanted to work with him and how she dreamed to do that at dinner and on the streets of Austin and on my show and Owen's show and you name it. So I said, hey, we ought to re-air that old interview in a couple days. And they said, it's crazy. We watched it. It's all about what's happening now and awakening and challenging the system. So I said, yeah, let's air it. And then I thought last night, I went, wait a minute. Let's doll it up and add some of the new clips and stuff and not say it's new. We're not going to deceive our audience. Just say Candace Owens coming up on the show. And I even said, I bet thought police like Ben Shapiro, whose job is to take over the conservative movement and kind of pseudo-liberalize it with more elitism, more foppish behavior. I said, I bet somebody like him and others jump on it and say, don't come on the show. So we'll start saying that morning she's going to be on, which she was, in this very studio, in an old interview, edited into new interviews, and it'll cause a big hubbub, and it'll be about free speech. Now, here's another thing. 4 months, 5 months went by like 10 seconds. I'm like, why isn't Candace been back on? She's big in the news. I want to hear her take. But we're not chasing the tail of a story. That's not how you get a big story. You break stories. We've had hundreds and hundreds of top news cycle stories. I mean, they attack us thousands of times a week everywhere. It's great to be infamous. It's like I'm the heel in professional wrestling, but this is for real. The globalists are pissed. But I start text messenger. They call her, shouldn't call back. Paul, I know, who didn't put her on the map. She's really smart, really beautiful. She deserves to be there, has a lot of courage. The feminists were bullying her, trying to mind control her. Paul said, this woman's incredible. Started getting her on. And she's exploded. That's all I wanted to see, was somebody that deserved to be big. But then there's the thing where you circle back around, and you're like, hey, come on the show. You get ignored. So Paul called her and texted her. She said, well, I'm just really busy. I'll come on Thursday. That was last week. Well, I'll come on Monday. Then no call. And that's when I decided Monday. I said, you know, let's just re-air it. Then I thought yesterday, let's do it this way. To then get Candace's attention, but everybody else's, that I don't live and die by having Candace Owens on the show. INFOWARS, Paul Watson, with our huge audience, pushed her over the top to get recognized and get what she deserved and needed. Just like Matt Drudge has helped push us. It'd be like if I told Matt Drudge someday, I won't talk to you or you can't link to my stories. We're like, okay, you're mentally ill. It's a chicken or the egg. I'm the chicken. She's the egg. And she needs to know that she's a chicken now. She's going to have many eggs of her own. But it does hurt your feelings when you try to invite somebody back on nicely and, whoa, you work with Fox News, you're in the Fox Club, you're in the, you know, Republican student movement. They're like, oh, that's not safe. We brought Trump. The populist movement brought Trump. We brought 1776. We have the tens of millions of viewers and listeners a day. We're the ones under attack. But it isn't like we're chasing after Fox News. I'll never forget when they had Fox News say, Jones wants a show here, but we don't want him. Fox News offered me 3 shows. I wouldn't even go audition for him. It's a lie. I'm bigger than Limbaugh, you name it. The only thing bigger is Matt Drudge, and I'm not having a pissing contest. So I love seeing Candace all up there on TV. Great outfits, hair done all up like she deserves, being treated like a princess. That's real progress. That's real power. So I thought, this is how we'll get her attention, where we can get in the news with you, Candace, anytime we want, if you think you're going to get attacked coming on here. But that's what she said in a tweet back to the thought police officer Shapiro. She said, disrespecting any platform watched by millions is silly. Talking about INFOWARS. It's Ben Shapiro. Well, he's an anointed neocon snot-nose who walks around making Richard Pearl-type faces, where he tries to act scary and powerful. He just recycles a bunch of libertarian conservative thought and a bunch of other think tank stuff. And I just noticed he's always criticizing me and always trying to keep people off my show while he makes little faces like this. I mean, these are the faces 5-year-olds make when they're playing G.I. Joe. So I don't care. He's some little Twitter guy and everything and into himself. But he's always trying to police me. And then I say, hey, come on the show. God, he's Ben Shapiro. I mean, he's a god. He doesn't reach 86 million people the week of the election. That doesn't matter. He doesn't reach conservatively 5 to 6 million actual viewers and listeners a day, bigger than Limbaugh. No, he's not being sued by George Soros and Hillary Clinton and being called the dark art. No, he is the anointed. Just like a leftist, he has this arrogance. And so it blew up in his face today. Candace Owens was here. She wanted us to hire her. I knew she was a great star. I blinked, 4 months went by with all the distractions I have. And she works with Turning Point, who are great folks, and is on Fox News everywhere, and that's wonderful. I just hope she doesn't just join the Fox Club and become like a collected stamp in their repertoire. But she's a star. She's got electricity, you name it. I knew when she was on with us a bunch back 4 or 5 months ago and that the new right was like, don't have her on. She's an operative. She's a doxer, all this bull. And I said, I want her on a lot. Well, somehow I blinked, and 4 months later, she's Kanye West. It's all exploded. It's everywhere. That's great. But I know how stories work. Her coming on now doesn't include us in that story. We're already in thousands of stories a day that don't matter. What matters is an audience of focused people that understand free market and action. But to illustrate these right-wing gatekeepers, I put a tweet out earlier when Ben Shapiro was saying, no, like Luke Skywalker, no, it's not true, it's impossible. He was criticizing Kanye West in a YouTube I came across and watched 20 seconds of, like last week, saying, don't trust Kanye, he'll stab you in the back. He's not perfect. He's fighting the establishment. He's breaking out of the mold. He's saying be a free thinker. It doesn't mean we endorse everything he does, but we go on whose shows we want. We talk about what we want. We're not coastal elites, and most folks on the coast aren't elites, but they're the coastal elites that live there that want to run everything. So he said, no, no, Candace, no. Now let's scroll down and actually, yeah, there it is. No, no, no. I make powerful faces. I'm in command now. Facebook, YouTube, and Google, leave me alone and let my videos spread. I'm not censored because I'm anti-establishment. I'm the mighty Ben Shapiro. There's no need to fear. Ben Shapiro, the neocon, is here, and he'll teach us how to be intellectual like Karl Rove does. So, Candace says, disrespecting any platform watched by millions in response to him is silly. Please stop telling me and or Kanye no, can't or shouldn't. Advice appreciated, commands shut down. But let's go ahead and show, if we can now, my tweet saying, oh, look, Ben Shapiro crawled out from under his thought police rock with, you know, this type of anti-free speech position. He really ought to be the head of the Democratic Party. I was paraphrasing. Ben Shapiro crawls out from under his thought police rock to tell real Candace Owens and Kanye West they should not come on my show. Shocking authoritarianism. Maybe they should make Ben the head of the Democratic Party. So, bringing up Roger Stone with what he predicted, the so-called obstruction that they were never going to stop, this rogue, runaway special counsel that's controlled by the executive, but the media says is God, involved in Uranium One, all the corruption. It comes to a head, just like Roger over a year ago predicted. He's going to cover all that in the next few segments. Then he's going to confront Comey at another place there in Naples, Florida, coming up in the next few hours with live feeds at INFOWARS.com during the War Room that's in 50 minutes. But, man, I didn't say she was on live. I said, Candace Owens, we're going to have a Candace Owens interview today. She'll talk about Kanye. And the way the neocons on the left flipped out, I knew, saying, no, 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 this is what they do. This is, and then they say, don't have Candace Owens on with the same bull. So shouldn't Candace Owens, just like Scott Adams said, you know, I was too busy to come on your show last week, but so many people told me not to, just without me even saying anything about you, that I said I better do this. I mean, and again, it's not like even I need Candace Owens to come on the show. It wouldn't be that big of an interview. It's always the big thing that's big. Once you try to follow it, it's always breaking the thing that's big, folks. It's not covering it. I want to say congratulations on your success. Hey, so wonderful. How's it going? You know, you transcended your critics, all those people trying to demonize you, the feminists trying to bully you and mind control you and false flag you. Man, this is awesome. Great job, Paul Watson, you know, bringing you to my attention. You're really awesome. But she's like, whoa, I'm kind of too big. People are saying don't come on right now. You know, whatever. So I said, hey, you've already been on. Watch how I make this the news cycle. It's already all over the news, lady. And I'm just showing you how it works, Candace, because you're smart, you're good looking, you got star appeal. But I'm teaching you, if I want to troll as bad as Trump does, I can do it 360. And I've decided to start doing it. So everybody's got forewarning. Now, I did it very cleanly. It's a white troll, not an evil troll. I did a troll, a golden troll, where I said, oh, we got an interview with her coming up, just to watch what they did. I mean, this is amazing. And I love Candace, and I love Kanye, and I admire his courage, and look how he's under attack. He should double down and say, they found tens of millions of living women of the 80 million the Chinese have killed in basements. That's millions of Anne Franks. How big's that story? Nobody's covering it. Washington Post admits it. Upwards of 30 million of the 80 million still may be living. What kind of story is that? 30 million girls hiding? Or hundreds of babies found in every trash bin in major cities in Pakistan as the family stone baby girls to death, deciding they don't want them. Where are the feminists on that? Well, Linda Sarsour says, shut up, you know, to Islamic women that stand up. I mean, it's such a fraud. All I'm saying is Kanye's a racist. He said, stop having a slave mentality, fight back. That's exactly what Harriet Tubman said. She said, I freed 1,000 slaves. The leader of the abolitionist movement, the Underground Railroad. Is she racist like Kanye now? All these babies that never fought any of this themselves? I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed thousands more if only they knew they were slaves. Harriet Tubman. Candace Owens and Kanye are putting that out. So what do you think of this, my friend, the way they charge in trying to gatekeep everything? Go ahead.
Well, Alex, I must say I'm very disappointed in Candace. Last Wednesday, I asked our friend Tyler Nixon to go to an appearance that Candace had in Denver, Colorado, to ask her to come on our INFOWARS show, the Alex Jones show, that day. While she was polite, she said she was just much too busy. One thing I've learned in American politics, Alex, you got to dance with those that brung you. And I think you helped put this young lady on. I agree with you. She's got star potential. She's charismatic, she's articulate, and I like her message. But she's absolutely right in her tweet. One of the things that aggravates me more than anything else is when people say to me, well, how can you go on with Alex Jones? How can you go on INFOWARS? Let's make two things clear. First of all, we reach millions of people, of freedom-minded patriots. Number two, when you go on CNN, does that mean you agree with everything Wolf Blitzer has ever said? You and
well, that's what Mark Dice. That's what Mark Dice tweeted at him. Mark Dice tweeted at Shapiro and said, "You go on CNN, you go on NPR, buddy. They're gatekeepers. Plus, they lie about what I stand for. They lie about you. They say you're in the Nexium cult. You did consulting for one of their businesses for 2 months. I checked the records. I don't just believe you. And Jones says there's Martian bases. Jones, you know, it's all lies. And so we just put up with the bullying."
But the reason they do it is because our audience is so large, because we are the tip of the spear, because they know we can motivate literally hundreds of thousands of people to take direct political action. They fear INFOWARS. I really hope someone will reconsider and come back home. I'm not going to say she owes us because she has her own talent, but you promoted her when no one else would, and now she's gone on to what she thinks are greener pastures.
When they were trying to suppress her with whisper campaigns saying she was a doxer and a fraud and a criminal, we championed her in articles, we pushed her over the top, and it's fine. We just hope she doesn't do that to other people because we don't need Candace Owens. We have the Promethean fire. We hope she now has it and gives it to other people. Let's have your Skype reconnect. It's breaking up a bit. You're making incredible points, Roger Stone. But hey, I just showed Candace everybody else. I can do whatever I want. And I just took over the news cycle. Watch it happen. We'll be back. You will not take it away. Market, who's about not being in the victimology, and who they're trying to censor, exploding. And now, where was she really an hour ago? She wasn't live with us on air. That was an old interview that's all over the news now with all her big truth bombs recycled. She's with Donald Trump Jr. And boy, you know they're going to demonize her for being with Donald Trump Jr. And they're one of the heads of Turning Point USA. I flew back to Austin with the head of Turning Point USA right after the inauguration. They're nice folks. Doing a great job on college campuses, trying to wake people up. But here's the deal. The White House watches. The White House listens. You listen. The globalists are constantly demonizing us. They're constantly attacking us for a reason. We're rebooting Americana. We're promoting things that really make sense. That's why they misrepresent us. That's why they demonize us, because they're scared. We're the tip of the spear. Thanks to our audience and supporters and TV and radio affiliates across the country. I saw Roger bleep out. Let's try to get him back. Now, here's what I want to say about Ben Shapiro. And Matt, one of the producers, pointed this out, and I actually knew this. I hadn't really said it because I haven't been focused on Glenn Beck. Why is Ben Shapiro so angry at me? Why is he always trying to put me down? Why is he always talking about how I'm so evil and sounding like some leftist and telling Candace Owens and Kanye West, don't come on his show? Why is he doing that? Well, because the folks that took over Glenn Beck's network about 2 years ago, these multinationalists, they are pushing Ben Shapiro to be the head of Glenn Beck's TV station and his radio shows if Glenn Beck completely retires due to his issues. And so Ben Shapiro is going to take over, the word is, the failed Mercury network. So that's what's happening. That's why YouTube and Google and all them still let him get promoted and don't censor him. And why he calls for our censorship is because, just like Glenn Beck, Ben Shapiro is a Judas goat to control the movement, a neocon. So there you go. That's why this is happening. He's super intellectual. He's super smart. He's your leader. He's the leader like Glenn Beck was. Just like 18 years ago, 17 years ago, I got approached. Well, I got to go to the Ben Shapiro voice. And I got approached, and they said, we want you to put out these book deals. You'll have a show on Fox on the weekend, and then it'll be weekdays. You're going to be bigger than Limbaugh. You're going to be better than Hannity, and we're going to pay you $3 million a year. And then it got bigger. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. Because they said, we're going to have editorial control. These were off-record meetings, so I can't release it. One of our producers, John Harmon, famously heard Rothkopf, the head of the Kissinger Group, offer me a bunch of stuff and then get pissed when I didn't take it. So I can talk about that because it wasn't off-record. He was on as a guest and started during the break saying, I want to talk to Alex off-air. He's like, Alex, come join us. You should work with us. You're part of the super class. Well, it'll be great. Come on up to New York. We'll fly up here. He goes, oh, you don't want it? Oh, you're crazy. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to do the interview anymore. And I'm like, well, let's finish the debate. So here's the deal, Ben. I understand you're super intellectual and like no one knows who you are outside of Twitter and YouTube, but you think you're like God. And you don't think we don't see what's going on with Peterson and all the rest of it, kind of the leftist move into common sense. Well, you have one arm saying no family, no common sense. That's the vanguard of the left. And then you'll have the reasonable left in the middle to kind of control the debate, but kind of keep you an outpost. I get it all. I know why you and Peterson don't come on. I know you think like you're like super Machiavellian and everything, and all you got investors, you know, that are from Israel. Nothing against Israel, but they're buying up Glenn Beck and everything. You don't think I don't know about everything that happened with Glenn Beck and what was set up with Glenn Beck? How about I tell everything, Shapiro? How about I dump it all on air? Oh, I know you are so smart, Shapiro. You act so tough. Dude, they shouldn't come on your show because you're awful. Have I been unclear about this anyway? Oh, that's what he says, God Shapiro. Ben Shapiro crawls out from under his thought police rock. Shocking authoritarianism. And he's like, they shouldn't go on because you're awful. Wow. He's not on TV reading a script of what somebody else intellectually wrote to sound smart. When he actually tweets, it's like, you're awful, man. What, I'm a racist? What, I'm a homophobe? I'm a Russian spy? That's all leftist crap. Same deal. You're awful. No one should go on your show. You're awful. Well, if it's awful, leave. Oh, I know. All the Democrats are suing me. Soros is, all the rest of it. And you're there making sure, don't go to him. I'm in charge. I'm Ben Shapiro. I run things. Me. The amazing Shapiro. What a joke. I haven't set my guns on you yet because your Lord and Master Beck already sunk his ship. And you will sink your ship as well, young one. No need to do that, baby Sith. Now, let's go back to Roger Stone. I know you got major stuff to talk about with Trump. I want you to... He's still having Skype problems. He's on the road. But, I mean, these attacks on free speech, we'll get into Mueller and all your predictions coming true, but this is unbelievable. I'm awful. You're awful. No one should come on you. I tell people who go on. I am the boss. This leftist entitlement of this Glenn Beck retread, the reboot of the failed Beck Judas goat, attack the conservative movement, try to lead it into the pits, is now back in the, I guess, in the form of the herpes of Glenn Beck. What is the herpes of Glenn Beck? In my view, it has been Shapiro. A fetid, scrofulous, diseased, viral infection that continues to bloom and bloom and bloom and bloom. Ben Shapiro is the herpes on our ass. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
Well, Alex, don't mince words. Look,
but he's so intellectual. He's so powerful. He said, I'm awful, so people shouldn't come on. He said it. We should all, but what's crazy is everyone listens to the left and Shapiro when they do this. We all just bow down. Yes, our kids belong to you. Boys are out of Boy Scouts. No more father and mother. Yes, yes, yes. Whatever you say, Hillary. Whatever you say, Pelosi. Whatever you say, Shapiro. Yes, Mr. Shapiro. Oh, God, you're so manly. That face you make, you scare me. God, you might tear my arm out of my known galaxy. But if he was the amazing Shapiro, just get him on the phone. That's the rule. 5 Skype drops, 3 really. We go to telefono, the old telephone. And I love my crew. They're the best I've ever had. We have defaults. And when Skype drops, 1, 2, 3, like strikes. A 1, a strike. A 2, a strike. Ben Shapiro, again. Small teeth, forward, eyes gleaming. Don't say no to it. Give yourself to it. He's superior. He controls reality. He controls speech. Hail Shapiro. Hail it. The Muslim call to prayer. We should have the call to Shapiro. Allah Muhammad Shapiro. You tell us who to interview, who to talk to. Oh, we love you. Candace Owens do not come on. He says so. And now he's backtracking like a rat when you turn on the lights at 2 a.m. to go get a glass of milk, and there's the rat up there eating the fruit out of the fruit bowl and the cheese. It's crapping all over your kitchen table, and it just scrabbles. But it slicks out in its own feces and kind of falls off and hits the ground, and by then your foot goes right on it. And you're like, oh, I'm going to really have mercy on you. But you only break 2 of its legs politically, metaphysically, and then you step back. It's scrabbling. You go, I'm not going to hurt you anymore. You look at your big old tabby cat and you say, Ace, get that rat. And that's what happens with our audience. I've been waiting for you to make the wrong move, scumbag. Now you're in major target. Just like Beck. Submarine wolf packs prepare. Only surface enough to get your torpedoes right into his guts. You go ahead and make your smarty pants faces all day, and you pray your buddies at Google, Facebook, and Twitter can ban us before I get my hands on you and the rest of you guys. So I got a file on all of you, and I was already thinking I was ready to make your move, and I said, I think Shapiro will attack when we do this. You were a side note, but I just metaphysically knew that if you surfaced, that was the sign of this jihad against you. So, prepare yourself, rodent creature. Most of my audience is like, who the hell's this? Yeah, he's not on 200 radio stations. He's not on over 300 now, I'm sorry, TV and cable systems. I don't want a glamour channel like Glenn. I don't even give him advice. I don't want a glamour channel for $25 million. They tried to get me to buy Glenn Beck's channel 3 years ago, nincompoop, for $25 million a year. I said, no, thanks. Those are worthless channels. I target the TV stations directly. You notice the cable companies want you to buy a channel, or then they, quote, have carriage rights and pay you money back and all this other crap. They don't want you targeting UHF, VHF, and cable systems directly because that's where all the audience is on the lower cable dial, dumbass. But I know you're already heavily in negotiations for all this, so enjoy yourself. Plus, you're such a schmuck. You don't even take real advice when you get it because you're so smart. Excuse me. Roger Stone's back. I want to get into the big Mueller thing. I kind of went off on a jag. Now he's denying that he told them not to be interviewed by me, even though he did. He said, don't go on. No, no, no. Like Skywalker pissing himself in the presence of Darth Vader. Just hopping up and down like a gremlin, wanting to kill free speech. Finish up with Shapiro. Let's get into Mueller of the same ilk here that we're dealing with, Roger Stone.
Well, Alex, right now, even as we speak, Michael Caputo, who has appeared here at InfoWars, regularly does commentary for Fox, worked with me in the Trump campaign, is being grilled by Robert Mueller and his subordinates.
Is this breaking? Is this an exclusive like last time, or is this already in the news?
It hit the Buffalo papers this morning.
Wow, so they're grilling everybody. This is a total Nazi-level witch hunt. DrudgeReport.com have it?
I don't know that it has appeared on drugs.
All right, guys, find it right now. Neil Caputo of Fox News, grilled by Lord Mueller.
Now, I know that Caputo went to the Senate Intelligence Committee yesterday for their murder board, and it was a carbon copy of the House Intelligence Committee inquiry. Nothing new, the same old garbage as cooked up by Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell and other lesser lights in the Democratic Party. Now, poor Mike Caputo, who's lost clients, who has had multiple death threats, who is being driven into bankruptcy by this inquiry, is in with Mueller and his gumshoes right now, presumably being grilled about non-existent Russian collusion. The story in the New York Times that appeared yesterday,
okay, well, your phone cut out, and I'm sorry. It's Michael Caputo that worked on the campaign, not Neil Caputo. So I had a little brain fart, sorry. I had a little Shapiro there.
I understand. As we've talked about here at InfoWars, this is a witch hunt. If you need any further proof of that, just look at the New York Times story yesterday, which is perjury trap after perjury trap in the list of questions that Mr. Mueller wants to ask the president. Now, we also learned this morning that we learned that roughly a month ago, Mueller's subordinates threatened to subpoena the president of the United States.
Sure, which is his own branch of government and they can't do, and it's total fraud. But let me ask you this question right now. Why doesn't Trump do it but agree that it'll be national televised and that he gets 6 questions first? And the first one is, on X date, the New York Times reports you delivered weapons-grade uranium on a secret tarmac meeting in Moscow to Vladimir Putin's agent. Next question. Hillary and her consorts took over $130 million from the Russians for Uranium One, and you reportedly, according to this report, stop. Next question. You testified to Congress X, and now it's been admitted why. Comey said this in Congress then, now he says that. Either way, it's perjury. I mean, you can annihilate them, and I just say bring them in and give them full war. That little rat scumhead won't show up.
Well, the president needs to understand that he has the power and the authority here, that this is a rogue investigation. And that list of questions...
I know, but what would happen if he brought him in? What would happen if he brought that in? He would never show up. He said, yeah, you get your questions, here are mine. And the president should publish his questions for Robert Bill Clinton's butt boy Mueller.
It's a great idea. I think we both understand that Mr. Mueller would never agree to that. The only thing that would be better, Alex, is if they want to question you publicly. I would love to see that. After all, you're a Russian bot. We know that you take orders directly from Vladimir Putin. Everything we do here at InfoWars is directed directly from the Kremlin. So this has reached a degree of absurdity. I have taken the position that the president shouldn't fire Mueller because of the political and public relations upper hand.
Because they built it up, it's too late. He should have done what you said early on, saying this is a rogue agency, you're fired, like he was a gnat he was slapping off his dog's rear end.
Well, and then yesterday we saw that a courageous band of Republicans in the House, led by Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and others, have drafted articles of impeachment for Rod Rosenstein. Why? Rosenstein refuses to hand over to the Congress documents pertaining to the origins of this phony Russian investigation. So what does Rosenstein do? He attacks the Republicans, saying he won't be extorted. The one who's trying to extort people is Rosenstein and a rogue Justice Department. My only question, having known Donald Trump for 40 years, is how much more of this crap he's going to take. This is an illegitimate investigation. It is now completely naked based on this New York Times story. Every one of those questions was a have you stopped beating your wife question.
Exactly. I'm not kissing your ass, Roger, because you annoy me a lot when you're on the regular Russia thing every day. You got to defend yourself. It's just so ridiculous. But I'm just being honest. But you're always long-term super on target. You, a year and a half ago, predicted everything that's happened. When his lawyers told him, no, it'll all end, you said, no, it's going to build towards obstruction. It's a total plan right into the 2018 where he says you're a criminal. Now the Democrats are in the Hill saying they plan to run on impeaching Trump. It's here. He's got to fight now. He's still got the people. He's turned the economy around. He's got North Korea. All this he needs. These are an enemy group. God almighty.
He will never have greater political leverage and support in the country than he has at this moment. 3% economic growth on the cusp of a historic peace agreement in North Korea.
And he's got to stop listening to all these wimps, the ones that said Beck would beat Trump, and Shapiro and all the cowards. Stop caring. Go with your gut. Swing for the fences. We know you're Americana. We know they're all scared of you, the Chinese, the Russians. Let's go. We're America. We're back. They're the globalists. They're the enemy. They're the traitors. Nick DiPaolo is your guest. You had technical problems. I'm sorry I ran over one segment with him. You're coming up with him next, and you're going to confront Comey, that complete criminal fraud at Barnes & Noble's where he's having his event. You'll tell folks they can be there in the next few hours. We'll have live streams, Lord willing, on the War Room with Owen Schroyer and you, and, of course, Infowars.com and Newswars.com. But I tell you, I never felt better. I'm in full war mode. I don't give a hell. As long as we fight hard and give it all, that's what matters. I'm in total war mode. Let's go, America. Infowars, savage their asses, and buy all the products at InfoWarsStore.com and help our local affiliates as well. We just got hundreds